looking at the weaknesses that Wild have, perfect example was Teb inside a Classroom. Was in there. So easy to get picked off, and just, they got their priorities all out of funk. They need to get the priorities in check for a map like Border. Both of these sides have played Border at this stage. Koi lost 7-5 to ITB, so they haven't looked too great on it. And Wild, that big build-up, whenever Secret, Savage was saying, oh, we'll see you at the Major whenever we win our last game against Wild and go into the playoffs. Wild 7-0'd them. So there is that to take in consideration. Wild are, the consistency theory that we all have. If this is one of those days where they are on top of their game and they're so consistent, then that's how it will remain. And that's how it started off, obviously.
The biggest thing for me when it comes to a map like Border is we often talk about it as a very aggressive map and a map that really relies quite heavily on gun skill. It relies on winning gunfights. And I think that with what we saw in Oregon, that isn't something that Koi are doing today. They aren't winning very many gunfights at all. So that needs to change moving into this. Wild are going to be starting off on the attack as well, which for Border isn't always a bad thing. Attacks have got so much opportunity here. We can see that with what's been removed. We've lost the Ying, we've lost the Dokkaebi. I believe we've also lost a Warden, along with a Castle. So
Castle's a good ban.
Castle's a great ban. Castle sees so much play. It's a little bit of an underrated ban, I think. Some of the Castle strategies that you can pull off on this map, it can really leave you scratching your head. And as an attacker, it often forces you to bring something like a Flores to remotely deal with that, or you're going to be looking at dealing with it with more old-fashioned means. But I think that removal should Wild, when they get onto their defense, they might feel that a little bit.
Yeah, a big bonus of having Castle for a map like Border is, one, it stops crouch walking, just people slipping in for a doorway in the middle of the bomb site. Whenever you do stretch yourself very thin on Border defenses, that can tend to happen. So just castling off a door and denying somebody walking in like that is a good one to have. I think whenever you look at a team like Koi, where you have like Cryin, for example, is known to be playing that role. It's a good one to have, the Castle. And two, there's a lot of long angles that you can fight from an attacking perspective. You think about East Stairs looking straight down in towards CC and Break Room. Castling off those doorways just gives you that extra layer of cover. So yeah, it's a good ban to have in a team like Wild where they do regularly run that. I'm happy to see it get banned away from them. Wild, obviously with the Ying also going, it does hinder attackers on Border a lot more than if he didn't have the Ying. I think Ying on Border is probably your best map. Just it leads into that chaos. The rooms are very tight and narrow, and one Candela can pretty much flash almost sometimes two bomb sites in the mix of that. So it is a tricky one. Wild going to be playing a little bit more patient. There's not too much you can look at and think that's going to be their win condition. Could just be the case of picking up kills, and Teb has done so with the first pick onto Leon. Gets caught rotating through the bomb sites.
Often all you need is one pick, and it will lead to more. We see a trade there. Jigsaw in position to take Aces down, but Hungry there with the cover. Still advantage Wild here. Cryin. He's going to get droned inside of security. He doesn't look like he wants to move right now, but
they want him.
You can see the triangle sort of bearing down onto him, can't you?
Keeper barriers, though, is an issue. Very strong site to have her for. Whenever you're looking towards CC, you can block off the windows, and Jags is going to walk in, face check. Moves now into 90, moving now in towards Brazil, and misses the shot. It's a 360 in the midst of that. The Deagle comes in, Cryin misses it. Hungry, though, appears, eliminates Hoste. I think he was rotating to try and assist his teammate. I don't know how we've seen Jags and Cryin actually walk away with both of their heads intact.
Pretty sloppy from both players, I think. It was a bit of a panic from either one. Deepek is going to find one onto Hungry. He's playing much deeper inside of the top of East. But he's a little bit far away from the side. What a shot, Deepek! You're not going to hit those. Jags, the next player to fall. Deepek, he's just catapulted Koi back into this. He can now make a full rotation up. Cryin, he's found a load more space. The C4 gets sent over the shoulder, and Deepek comes up to collect. What a round. He was hanging out on East Stairs for the longest period of time, and he's just hit two stinkers at range with the SMG-11.
He is the man to watch for Koi. Whenever all else fails, he's when he steps up to the plate. I will give credit to Koi. I think it was a good idea bringing in plenty of information, doubling down on bulletproofs and Valkyrie cameras, so whenever it does come to the later parts, you know exactly where the attackers are pushing in from. They essentially got 2 kills from that. We've seen somebody jump in towards Archive's window. We've seen another push in towards Armory, both of which was being watched by information. And it's very easy then for Koi just to peek, play off the pings, get their kills. So a good start for Koi. That's what we want to see. We need more of it, though. A lot more of it.
It's the first step, isn't it, in a much longer process. But a round is a round, and Koi are going to be very happy with that. They only managed 1 through the entirety of Oregon, so to pick up round number 1 on Border, it can only be a good thing from here. There's still a long old way to go, though. They're going to be defending Bathroom this time. Be curious to see what the changes are for Wild. Hungry going to be making a pretty significant 6-pick there. He's off the Grim and onto the Monty. Wild didn't do a terrible job in that previous round. I think, I genuinely feel as though those 2 kills that Deepek got just won it for him, plain and simple. And had Deepek missed those shots, or had he been headshotted himself, the result of the round would have been a little bit different. So I don't think that Wild needs to make too many knee-jerk reactions.
No. Just trying to figure out where Wild want to go with this attack in towards Bathroom and Tellers. Having the Monty come in, it's not the most common operator that we see for this bomb site. Really, we'd only see the Monty whenever we're dealing with, you know, the kind of Archives rush ollie, which is pretty common that teams would like to go for. You get them in there, go for the plant. But certainly for Bathroom and Tellers, it's going to be a creative way. The only issue I'd have with Monty is if you do not open up, you know, the single wall from waiting that leads into the site, then you're forced for your Monty players to jump through windows, which isn't ideal. That was a close one there from Hungry. Almost gets picked off there from Jigsaw. And if you lose the Monty in this kind of position, it's not going to help you. So I think Wilders need to be careful. These roamers are playing very aggressive, and I like this more from Koi. Getting in the faces of Wild. Don't let them have all that control. Take the fight to them. You set the tempo for a change.
Setting the tempo is something that Wild need to almost be careful with in some ways. Because Koi are on that back foot, and that back foot can be very dangerous, especially when it's got Deepek on it. Backbull, next player to fall. Deepek eventually shut down. And you feel like if Deepek's down, a large part of the hopes of Koi are down with it. Hungry, he's going to start to try and get that diffuser down. The Dread Mine's being reactivated here and there, but it isn't going to matter. It's not going to stop the plan from being confirmed here. Jegs, he's picked one up onto Hosty. Teb from the window onto Leon. That little hop over there is not ideal. Not easy to make a clean rotation through that. Crying likely going to meet a similar fate, but no, manages to thread it. Takes Teb down. You've still got the small problem of Hungry, though, and he is going to be on the Monty. This time, he's not unshielding. He has been told very firmly, you do not unshield. You've just got to burn out this clock here, and look at the cover from Jegs. 3 kills on the round. Can he make it 4? Now it's Hungry's time to strike. There's not enough time to disable the diffuser. He can unshield all he likes. It's going to be Jegs. 4 kills on the round for him. Really putting in the work from Passport.
Post plants are hard on its own as it is, Ollie, but a post plant against a Monty, you said small issue. It's a big issue, very big issue, dealing with an operator that you can't kill, and he can consistently feed information to the remaining players. It's so difficult to go against that. It's just constant information there from Wild. That was their idea. Bring the Monty, not so much for the case of, you know, getting the plant down, but just to figure out where Koi are. You don't have to rely so heavily on the drone work. And I think whenever you can see that Koi are always running that Solus from Jigsaw, you're not going to get many opportunities to really use those drones without the Solus getting rid of them before you can figure out where the remaining defenders are. Solus can't really counter a Monty too well, and that's hard information you're getting from, you know, the horse's mouth. So I do like the addition of just slowing down the tempo, figuring out where Koi are, and then you go for your execute.
Yeah, Wild's done a really good job of responding there. Koi, knowing that they're not going to have things all go their way in this matchup, They did pretty well in round number 1, though. It did all come down to DPEC and a hero play, though. And there's a very similar start to Oregon as we've had here on Border, in that DPEC is the only player with a meaningful amount of kills. We've got Cryin on 2. He was part of that clutch that DPEC pulled off as well. But DPEC 4-1. Start of round number 3 here. Jigsaw, 1 kill. Hosty, he's had 2 kills in the entirety of the games that we've seen here today. It's not been a fantastic showing in that regard, and it's something that's still going to need to step up here for Koi, because sure, they can get 1 round on the board, but a large part of that comes down to 1 player, and it can't be relied on.
It's good early ground control here from Wild. Getting their way in towards supply and then looking to move in towards customs. Just gives them that side of the map that you certainly can't execute on. If you get control of customs, Ollie, that locks down blue, which is a big kind of highway of defenders scrambling to get back into sight. Opens up the possibility of holding metal from a good position also. Just gives you a lot in terms of holding off rotations from defenders, so I do like that they've got control of that very early on. And look at this, from Hungry can just stroll his way through blue. He can see that all of this is clear, and that's going to be good information being fed through again to his team. Koi, though, as long as they have control of upstairs, Ollie, there's nowhere safe that Wild can actually plant in. This is the benefit of some of these bomb sites for defenders, is there's so much vertical destruction on a map like Border. Gives you a good chance of just playing very heavy off-site. In goes Hungry. A smoke grenade goes in. That's going to be maybe for Packbull. Can play off the glass. I don't know if this sideways take is the best idea from them. Aces has found Jigsaw. In goes the plant. Anyone?
Hungry going to be doing a great job of getting it down again. DPEC joins in when it matters the most. He's been the most impactful player for Koi so far. Aces, though, he's on a tear. Was that a wall bang on
it was! Oh my goodness. I have no idea how he's done that, but that's Ace's things there for you, isn't it? DPEC, like you mentioned, Ollie's so impactful, but just no one else from his team assisting him. Very similar to what happened in Oregon. Leon Gids, all by him lonesome. One aggressing onto him from Metal. Tags up Packbull and swings in. So many shots are being missed, and Jegs cleans up. The G36Cs, Ollie, they're ringing in this game. They really are.
I think Wild are ringing, aren't they? They're doing such a good job. There's almost no contest in these gunfights. It really feels as though everybody else is, you know, almost playing a different game at the moment. The only player that is hanging with this Wild side is going to be DPEC. A dying shame.
It is.
I thought that they'd wake up, honestly, after Oregon. I thought that would be a really big shock to the system. And there's time yet. We're round number 4. It's early days on Border. I'm not saying this game's a write-off by any stretch. There's definitely time for Koi to bring it back, but they're still not showing me those signs.
It's the dread that they still have to attack. Fresh said, basically summed it up. They've never won an attack against Wild. Never. That's unheard of to have that kind of record. They've faced each other 3 times.
It's not good, that is it? It's
really not. So it's just that the chips are stacked against them. Just every passing round they don't get on the board from the defense. They, in my opinion, they need these next 3 rounds in a row. They need a 4-2 half.
It is getting to that point where they do need a miracle.
He's knocked out, mate. He's not here no more. He's gone. He's went home.
It's a shame as well, isn't it? The thing is, it's... I almost don't want to say it, but
we're lost for words.
I'd like to see Secret play Wild for a spot. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like that'd be a good game.
We can only have so many loser brackets.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crux of it, is we're sending 1 team at the end of this weekend.
Yeah,
which is, and to be fair, we've been so wrapped up in today that we've forgotten, or not forgotten,
the other 2 yesterday.
It's at the back of our minds at the moment that we've actually got Eminem versus G2 tomorrow.
One of them go out tomorrow.
Which is going to be a banger. Like, that's going to be a huge game. That's almost going to be more hype than the final.
Yeah. We'll see what the second semi-final waits. Who will ITB be facing? Certainly, as it stands, it looks as if Wild are in a better position than what Koi are. Koi, this was a site that worked out well for them. I like the information they were able to gather. Cryan using the Valkyrie cameras to great assistance, and Bulletproof here or there, and players being able to feed that information. Wild's going for a different approach. Ollie trying to eliminate Cryan from below using the nades. Cryan, though, pulled the trigger at the wrong time. Teb's been gifted 2 kills in the space of 2 seconds, and he can still keep moving on with the nade. However, that is a fantastic retake from Leon Gids. Pushing downstairs, knowing that Teb's the biggest threat to your player inside of Break Room. You take him out, but it goes begging a Ollie, as Hosty still gets killed.
Deepek has got a lot to do yet again. This time he's going to be in office. He has the option to rotate to the top of East. We've already seen what he can do with this SMG-11 at range, but it's not necessarily repeatable. Sure, it's a skill you can learn, but you can't rely on him to continue to pick up kills like this. And to be honest, Wild should be expecting it. They do have players on drones, so they could have an idea of where he's coming from. They really ought to have a flank drone here, but no, he's going to find one and gets it down onto a second. Deepek, he can't be stopped.
Unbelievable.
Once again, he drags Koi out of the shit. This is happening time and time again. Pack pull. He's now got to try and push his way through. He's going to breach in. Does have the diffuser. Should be able to hop himself in here, but realistically, he's got both Deepek and Leon Gids to try and contend with. If you can break this down, he might find a chance, but looks as though Deepek's just managed to skirt him there. Took out the drone. Keep barrier, keeping everybody safe there behind it, and we're going to see Deepek close things out. Another round you can attest to Deepek.
Can we just send him to the major? Just
put him in.
By himself?
Put him in on his own.
He's playing for everything right now, and his team just isn't there. He shouldn't... I've never seen a team have to rely on a support. Ever. Never, ever. Even if you go through the teams that have the greatest supports, you think of BDS. It's not Britta you rely on, it's your other boy, it's your boy Shaiko. That's your Britta you're relying on. It should not be the case for Koi. Yeah. It should not be Deepek being the star player. He has to do the filthy jobs. The janitor jobs, no one wants to do them. No one wants to grow up and be a Deepek, do they?
Well, it seems like no one wants to be sat at 8-2 right now on Koi because he's the only player that is there. Everybody else is going negative. They've got 5 kills between them, Demo, and he's got 8. Single-handedly, he has won both the rounds that Koi have right now. Without him, they will be nowhere.
I have a lot of time for Deepek, a lot of time for remember watching him whenever he first started way back in 2018 with Trust Gaming and that side. 10 seconds remaining. And I think since then he's had, I know, a couple of issues here or there with getting Pro League trials, and remember he was on the cusp of joining Team Vitality way back when, and then he eventually got his shot at Tier 1, and he's been as steady as ever. He's just consistent Deepek, always there, always doing his job, always performing well. It takes a lot for him to have a bad game. It really does.
And it seems as though Koi are enabling him. You know, he's playing off-site. He's playing in these really off-meta locations. A roaming mute, it's not something you always see. But I don't think anyone on Koi is really going to stand up and say you can't do that at the moment, because it's the only thing that's keeping him in this game. We'll have to see how it develops. I don't think that Wild should be falling for that again. They need to pay a little bit more attention to that flank because, you know, it's happened once, okay, it's all fun and games, but it's happened twice now. That's starting to become a little bit of a problem, and they need to nip that in the bud. They've got a couple of attacking rounds left here, and they want to try and finish as strong as possible.
Drones get sent in. Cryan. Should maybe look for a dash out the window. C4 ripped. Out it goes. Oh, just about gets Packbull. Actually repels into the C4. That's a good start for Koi, taking down the hard breach. It does mean that maybe the single wall towards East stairs, Ollie, that gets laid to rest. Can't be opened up now on the side of Wild, and Cryan gets caught watching drones, and Aces is straight on the money, moves in, and he's even going further than that, straight into the thick of it, moving in towards 90. Hosty has to win this engagement. Trades go back and forth, but Aces is there again. Aces cannot be stopped. Has to take time, though, to pull out the Gur Mine. And Jigsaw's, he tried to finish him off with the impact, gets caught out by Jegs. Aces and Jegs on border, Ollie, are unstoppable on this Ashe and Iana combo.
Look at the team play from Wild coming in as well. They're doing such a good job here. There's crossfires. You can see the tracer rounds just going and pinging back and forth. Poor old Hosty, he had no chance there. Jigsaw, he's taken out before he can confirm the kill. Yeah, it's not much having aces on 1 HP, but you've got aces on 1 HP, and he's 5 and 2 with a nade in his pocket. He's still got a part to play in the remainder of this round. Deepek, he's going to come in and pick himself up a freebie onto Jegs. He had the information, and Jegs had stayed still for just a little bit too long there. Again, we see Deepek in this power position, but eventually shut down. Teb is going to find him out there from bathroom. And Leon, it kind of goes against the grain of the way that this game's been going so far, but he's on the Echo, going to be trying to deny a plant if it should go down. He's got 25 seconds to hold on. Aces got a good glimpse there of the Yokai, so they should have an idea that there's that in play.
Drops in, has diffuser, go for the plant. Sure, he can stun it out, but as soon as this Echo stun goes in, you would expect that everyone for Wild will drop and try and clear those Echo cams as best as they can. He still has one more remaining in for the drone hole. Is there going to be the cover? No, it goes straight up through the hatch. Oh, that is a sickener for Leon Gids. A 1 versus 2. One player outside the window can hold on strong to that rotate. So all they need to worry about is just him entering free bathroom. Leon Gids with the bearing swings, but Hungry cleans it up. You can't make it up. You can't.
Heartbreaking. We've been talking so much today about how sometimes in Siege, you can play really good Siege, and you just need a little bit of luck to let you over the line. You could argue it's luck. You could argue that in that particular instance, it's skill. But as soon as Leon tries to send the Yokai drone to the ceiling, guess what? He's above the hatch, and it just keeps on going. And you can't use the stun if you're not on the ceiling.
Incredible.
Gutting. You got to really feel for him there, because the play was there, and it was probably the right thing to do. He had the utility. He had the tools at his disposal. Get it done. Just unfortunate. But again, there are deeper issues than just that have gone on here today. Although we do sit at a much closer scoreline of 3-2. A chance for Koi to equal themselves, or a chance for Wild to increase that lead a little bit more. A lot of it, unfortunately, is going to come down to Deepek, as he is 9-3. Or I suppose you could sit here and say a lot of it's going to come down to players like Jigsaw and Hosty, who, again, aren't really meeting that expectation.
I mean, there's been, what, 12 rounds played over the course of 2 maps, and Hosty's got 2 kills, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it 3 kills? He got 2 kills, I think, in 1 round in Oregon, and that's it. So 3 kills across 2 maps, 12 rounds played in total. Is that good enough? Is that good enough for Koi fans? I don't think so.
Teb going to try and make something happen under this Lion scan. It seems as though he's just sweeping up those goo mines, so he only has to pull 1 out. Aces, he's caught in 1 as well, and he's going to take even more damage. Going to be crying, getting into an engagement there with Teb. Both of those two have had a bit of a problem when they've come face to face with one another in really finishing the job. Still dancing around. That wall is going to be soft. Crying just rooted in position for the time being. He's going to get droned out there, but he's not really got anywhere to go. He's playing tight in these beepers. He's got his teammates at his back. We're now going to see the nade come in from Aces as he tries to get the most out of that util, as he is on low HP, but Jigsaw finally opens things up here. Hosty gonna fall as well. Leon, what are you doing there? He's just running out of East. Gives himself up to Pack Bull.
Wild have just hit them so quick, and Koi just look dazed. They don't know what's happening to them. Wild have, it's almost like a search and destroy mission. They just moved in quickly. They've got their target, and they're out again, and now they're ready to go for mission number 2. Diffuser in the hands of Packbull. That's the person you want to try and watch out for to see where he wants to try and get that plant down. It looks as if it's going to be an office-sided take for Wild. That's a great shot, though, from Cryin. Equals it up into a 3 versus 3. A flashbang goes in, but Jigsaw has not been flashed. Oh, barely misses out on the kill onto Jegs. Jigsaw fires at an impact in return as well. Look at the HP from Aces and Jegs. That is not favorable for the attackers right now. Could be salvageable here from Koi.
Not a lot of HP to speak of, even though the man count is fairly equal. Packbull Gonna have to try and work himself in here a little bit. Still feels like there's a bit of a job to do to clear out this top floor. But Jigsaw, he's got a lot of information at his disposal, and with Cryin still out there on the roam, it's going to be quite difficult to get the job done here. Cryin picking now as his time to strike as he moves forward, trying to make something happen, but Packbull, he sees to it that he's sat down. Great pick there. Packbull really needed to find that one. He's probably given Wild a lifeline, but the time still ticks here, Demo.
Could be enough, but Jegs would rotate in through Taylor as he gets himself in the bathroom, has that long angle, and Jigsaw joined this team not too long ago, and can he make a big impact? Diffuser has been attempted, they've actually came off Diffuser. Jigsaw wrapping around now, there's constant information. Jigsaw, this will be an incredible clutch, and it is! My oh my, a man from down under makes a big splash on Border.
That's the kind of round that can really shift the momentum of this game. Just before the half switch, Koi have now leveled things up. The pressure's been lifted because that wasn't a DPEC round. That wasn't a round that just came down to DPEC hitting a few shots. That was a little bit of a misplay from Wild. I think Packbull coming off the Diffuser at that time, you've got to ask a bit of a question about that. Obviously, he felt like he was getting pushed. He felt like the player was, instead of going round and underneath metal, was going to come in through the site. Jigsaw actually went the other way. He went round through metal. Maybe a bit of a question onto Jegs' play there. Completely caught looking the wrong way. Obviously, the last comm is that he's going to come through Workshop. So obviously, everyone's worried about Workshop and no one's worried about the bottom of metal. Unfortunate there for Wild, but a great round from Koi. That's more of what we wanted to see. It was a bit scrappy, but it got him over the line.
It's different circumstances though, Ollie. The dreaded attack for Koi. They haven't won one of these today.
5 seconds to go.
Haven't won one in the history against Wild.
Attackers are
What
heading
is
out
their
to
choice?
bomb.
It feels very similar to what they were doing in Oregon, Ollie. This Finka comes in for Cryin. Sure, Finka's okay, but there's a lot better attackers in the current meta than what Finka is. She doesn't have her nades back yet. Nades will be coming soon enough, but not at the moment. Just feels like a preference from Cryin. But the Spear's received a couple of nerfs. It's not as strong as a gun of what it used to be. So I do worry for their lineup. Lack of nades is the biggest worry for me. I'm really surprised that we're not seeing at least one set on Border. You can see how many kills were coming in from nades, even Ted below on the sledge. Remember that one round? And Yana's always going to be there throwing the nades. But to go without them, it's going to cause issues for them.
Leon going to be rocking the Monty this time. Tep finds himself caught out there as Jigsaw. He's woken up over the course of the last couple of rounds, and he's now level 5 and 5. Exactly what you need out of that sort of a player. Coming in with a bit of impact here. It's definitely going to put the pressure onto Wild. We have mentioned already that Koi have got a pretty shoddy attacking rating, particularly against Wild, so this round is already looking a lot better. Jigsaw on a double. Could he be about to go huge? There's potential for him to get an ace here, but maybe we're getting a little bit too ahead of ourselves. They've still got to clear out this top floor. Jegs is going to be playing inside of Office and is going to be somebody that needs to be dealt with. Hosty trying to apply that pressure laterally. DPEC, he's thinking about getting in. He's opened the window. He's knocked on the door.
I thought he dropped in the hatch. I was like, how could
what
he
a
be
play!
inside?
No!
What?
Oh, what a play from Packbull. You could see it. It was beautiful, but it just wasn't meant to be. Great round.
Surprise. I was like, DPEC's in sight, surely not, but it was just on the other side of the wall, and it's going to be surprised if he did go for that, because Koi were just about the patience on their side. It was slow. It was trying to control the game. Wild fell into it. They fell into the trap. They started swinging. Information was being fed through the Monty. And just those individual picks come in. Wild don't refrag themselves. And that's why we see flawless rounds sometimes, is because teams just don't realize that you just can't play by yourself all the time. You need to be doubling up with your teammates.
Koi, they've broken the curse, Demo. They've got around. This is exactly what we wanted to see. Can they do it again, though? That's the big question.
Same lineup. Exact same lineup.
No reason why they can't. Is this where momentum shifts and we end up with all 3 maps?
10 seconds to go.
Be some going if we do.
5 seconds left.
I
really don't know.
It's in the back of my mind at the moment. Like, I'm mentally ready for it.
Attackers must locate and defuse
A bit of cafe as well.
Yeah, I don't want to speak it into existence because whatever the score is whatever the score is. I'm not invested. It's, you know, I'm just here to voice it. But I've mentally, I'm more coming around to the idea. Yeah, we could be sat here looking at a cafe.
Would be nice. Really would be. But that depends on how both these teams want to perform. I feel for Wild, they will have seen the kind of ideology for Koi in that last round. That is play it slow with the Monty. Let Wild come to us. I would say now Wild probably aren't going to give Koi anything at all in this round. They're going to be pretty passive. They're going to sit back. They're going to hunker down. You can see the Izami coming into play. Miro Windows coming into play. That just screams, yeah, we're going to just sit in sight. We see you've no nades. We're not threatened. And Jegs gets caught out inside a break room, it looks like.
A little bit of a strange one there from Jegs. He's had some really good positioning, but unfortunately the last couple of rounds really haven't gone his way. Jigsaw, though, really on the up and up, and especially with taking aces down there, Leon just get caught out in the goo mine, but it isn't going to cause too many problems.
Exactly the same again. Why are they throwing themselves at them? Don't get it. You have these Miro Windows, these Izami barriers.
I think Wild just needs to play a little bit more passively. We've got Teb running out. He is going to find himself one. Can he grab a second? He gets one onto Hosty. Oh, he had the rotate, but he didn't quite make it. Leon redeems where the rest of his team lacked. Still a job to be done here, though. Deepek and Jigsaw. If there's 2 people you could choose to have alive for Koi, it'd be those 2 at the moment. Both of them having a good series. And they've got a bit of time to work with here, Demo.
They do, and they can see that the Miro window is not occupied because Leon was able to get that information for them over towards security. Hungry still has a C4 in his pocket, which could cause some issues to both not just Planter, but even just trying to kill Lamonte as best they can. Leon, have you not droned out? No, they haven't. Packful's been gifted a freebie. Ollie diffuser called in the middle of the site. All they need to do is hold on to this. Jigsaw will try and move in through metal. In through the door. What a shot from Jigsaw! Takes the head clean off the shoulders of Hungry. Packbull now in the middle of the smoke. He knows they have to go to him, but Jigsaw just fires through the smoke and ends up securing the round. Jigsaw! He's became alive, Ollie, in this attacking half.
Slowly but surely as the rounds press on, things are looking more and more promising here for Koi. Timeout has been called for Wild. Demo, we're only 2 rounds away from going to Cafe. That isn't how this game was meant to go based on the start. But Koi have really booked their ideas up. And it's starting to become a bit more of a team performance.
We've got people helping Deepek now. Look at the difference. Jigsaw has woke up. He's got in there. He's got some kills. Even crying to his credit. 6 and 6 ain't too bad. That's all you need from Koi. Just more than one player stepping up to the mark. You wouldn't think it's that difficult, but sometimes it can be. Oh, my goodness. It's a good timeout, though. Whenever you lose momentum, you need to try and gain that back.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Definitely a good opportunity to turn things around here. All really isn't lost for Wild, and I think a lot of this is really going to come down to the bounce back demo. Because there's no reason why they can't bounce this one back. Tense
series, very, very tense.
2-0.
Wild, I just think they need to play more passive. You know, both of the rounds that they've lost, it's down to them giving away the 2 opening kills and getting nothing in return.
10 seconds left.
Yeah,
the opening pick's been a problem. The opening pick has been a real
and
problem.
it's not as if Koi are bringing a lineup that screams, we're going to clear you out. They still don't have that, and even less so. Without the Monty and without any set of nades, the only way you can clear out these defenders now is just gunfights. That's it. Just straight up taking your ones. That's not too easy whenever you're dealing with Mira windows and Azamis and Fenrir gadgets and Valkyrie cameras that can call out all of your positions.
Yeah, there's a lot to deal with, but a good place to start would be in that opening pick because Jigsaw has really stepped his game up with that. And Koi as a whole, you know, they're doing a much better job on focusing on that opening pick, so it would be nice to see that be a little bit more of a focus here from Wild. I'm not sure what the content of their timeout really was, but in my opinion, that should be something that's at least being discussed right now is let's get a bit more of a handle on this game
slow
early
it down,
on.
I think, almost as well.
Yeah.
It's, pace settings is a big thing that we talk about. You know, you need to make sure you can dictate, you know, what the attackers are going to be going for, deny them access to these certain areas, don't give them the flexibility of having a man advantage, then rotate someone on the other side of the map. Make it as difficult as you can, and what a walk in here. I said that Koi had to rely on gunfights to clear out these roamers. Oh well, Cryan's just strutted in, strutted his stuff, got his pick.
Teb has had a decent game, but the ups are now starting to be joined by a couple of downs.
3 opening picks in a row. That's better though. Get a kill back. Did he get it? No! Missed out on Ollie. Mirror window still stands, and this is an issue. They don't have a real clear-cut way of eliminating it. Here comes another Twitch drone, and that also will get destroyed. That is not a good start for Koi, and that is a horrendous quad! 3 of them in 1C4! Oh my! Disgusting! Absolutely disgusting from Jags.
That's the sort of thing that can really shift this series around. Deepek, he's done it a couple of times before. He's been the clutch master when Koi have needed it. But Jags, he's
Take
not
a bow.
done with 4. He wants the ace.
Birthday boy gets gifted an ace. That's our present, Jags. Maybe that's Koi's present to you. They've gave you an ace. He's got 3 of them
That's
there.
going to feel pretty good.
3 of them.
If you, mate, that's going to feel pretty good if you are on Team Wild right now. A real good boost of momentum when they needed it. You talk about needing a little bit of luck sometimes in Siege. That right there.
Attackers need to locate and
We don't get to see too many multi-explosive kills, but I think we've been pretty blessed recently. Let's have another look at it. Jags straight over the mirror window.
There's 1, there's 2. Where'd the 3rd come from? Oh, Jigsaw was just
Oh, he
behind
was
them
in
as
the
well.
corridor. Oh. Unreal.
Good catch, that. That could be a turning point. Big turning point. Like you mentioned, it's just moments in games can completely change the outcome. And you can kind of go back and see, at this point, this is where they really started. Or at this point, this is where they lost it. You can see those in every game on Siege, is there's always a
attackers
point.
are heading out to defuse a bomb.
That could be it.
Absolutely. And it's been a difficult game is the most important thing so far for Koi. It hasn't been an easy game at all. So when things start going their way, fantastic. But then again, they're met with a little bit of an obstacle. They're met with a bit of trial tribulation. It can send you back again. And I really hope that it doesn't knock them too hard here. I'll have to see how they react to it. Obviously, it's a pretty fluky thing. You're not expecting it to happen all the time.
Jigsaw, that's a good pinch. He's entered from East Stairs every single round, Ollie. And finally, Wild have adapted onto that. Leon, so risky and somehow gets away with it. He's very aggressive as the Monty, Ollie, and it does worry me. It gives me fear.
He likes to live you know, close to the edge.
Life in the wild
I think
side.
on the Monty is maybe one of the kind of ways of putting it. He's not the most conservative Monty that we see playing, but he gets the job done sometimes. I think he needs to be a little bit bold here. Don't forget, we haven't got a gun on the Monty. You've only got the pistol. So essentially, at this point, you've got two guns. You've got Cryin and you've got Deepek. And Deepek's got the F2, which we've already had a bit of a conversation about. He seems to be doing a great job of controlling it, but it's by no means an easy thing to do.
Cryin has found aces. That was from a yellow ping, so some information was up there for Koi. You can see Hosty flicking through all the different drones. Seems to be 3 different drones that they have, a Twitch drone and 2 normal drones stacked up somewhere. It's Leon trying to gain some information towards east. If you look at Koi and where they're wanting to try and attack into, it's still going to be that Tellers, but I think as I've mentioned before, if you don't have a full walkthrough for that single wall towards Tellers, Monty will have to unshield and jump for a window. That's not going to do him any favors whatsoever, so it is going to be pretty tricky. If they don't know that there's a rotate in through Passport into Customs, that can cause issues, especially if one of them is an Oryx, who will try and get some punctuals in, sees it's a Monty and backs away. Deepek, he's going to look for the drop volley, but the plant must go down if Koi want to win this round.
That is going to be their win condition here. He's going to try and crouch and get a back plank going. Cryin is going to be here to support with the nades, but gets taken out. The plant has been confirmed, but a great
Deepek.
kill there from Pikeball picking up 2. Deepek, he's got to try and hold on, but he's got a decent cross here. With the plant going down, when he plays to go through, but what a use of the Ramadan tab! He's gotten away with that! A great timing on the sprint. Perfectly used. The default camera giving the game away. Deepek takes it out. He's got to find a couple of kills here, but the cover is there. Pikeball 3 on the round. I don't think I've ever seen Oryx used in that way.
Oryx is finally useful. Finally, he makes an impact. My word. And it's so unfortunate because not only, obviously, you're going to miss the Oryx go past. Ain't no one hitting that shot. Don't care who you are. You're not hitting that shot. But then because he looked away, then the Kapkan was able to get past also. You can't make it up. This game is just full of everything. Everything.
It's full of surprises. Full of surprises. 5-5. This is more like what I want to see in a last chance qualifier weekend in the semi-finals. We can forget the first game. This is what we're here for. 5-5 on border. Koi taking a tactical timeout. And no real way of telling which way this one's going to go right now. It genuinely could go either way.
Timeout. Being used by Koi. What have they discussed? What have they talked about? This is where we miss having the, listening in, which is obviously what we get for the LAN events, Ollie. But we don't get that
True.
luxury. The listen-ins on the LAN events. Get to hear the timeouts.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being
Don't get them.
by attackers.
But I think for Koi, they realize that that's not working anymore, that slow play style. Because Wild, I think, have adapted to that very appropriately. They were able to double up on Jigsaw's entries specifically. And if you start taking away guns away from Koi whenever they do have a Monty, like, bear in mind, Monty's great, but you're always going to be stuck with one less gun compared to the defense. So if you don't have the manpower, then the Monty's just kind of there. Doesn't give you a lot of fragging power.
10 seconds to insertion.
Doesn't really give you a lot to go on at all.
5 seconds
And
remaining.
we really saw the blunt end of that, I think, in that previous round.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Koi, is their timeout good for a round? Typically, a tactical timeout will be good for at least a round off a lot of teams. But I think in a game that's this close, it feels like there's a lot of emotion involved in this one as well. It's very difficult to say. Wild have also had that opportunity to talk amongst themselves. A lot of it comes down to this opening pick. We've seen a big battle so far between both Teb and Jigsaw. Now that Leon's playing a little bit more on the Monty, you can sort of throw that into the mix as well, as he can use that shield to gather a little bit of information and maybe help to hone in on an opening pick here for Koi.
Wild have not really had a successful hold in towards CCTV room at all. I think that Koi have just walked in and picked up the kills as they've came. So to see them go for the upstairs again and not put as much pressure as what they were doing previously, it's just the one player. I believe Jegs, didn't he get taken out from break room the last time they defended up here? So it is a little bit different. Hungry though, he's below inside a bathroom, and you can see Wild or maybe hunting after him. I think they know he's downstairs. Jigsaw, I believe, is in place to check him, and as you can see, he is. And this was something that I would say Koi were severely lacking whenever it came to Oregon, was not following through with these easy picks, but then they leave him. You leave a Valkyrie below with a C4 where he's trapped in a one-way out, one-way in room? I don't like that.
Looks like a little bit of an oversight there. Aces is in a prime position here. It very much depends on how sloppy Koi have been in that drone game. It looks as though they are entirely unaware of him. Jegs, he's getting tabbed up, but it's going to be Teb that's going to take on Leon. You mentioned about that aggressive Monty play demo. It's come back to bite him again. The laziness is there as Aces dominates. Deepek on the hop in, really punishing that lack of drone work. Jigsaw now trying to make his way through, but we're playing Rat Siege demo. They're in every single corner. Teb gets taken out by Jigsaw playing Exterminator. 2 versus 3 here. Make that 3 versus 1 as Aces shuts Hosty down. Jigsaw not got a lot of health to speak of. And all of this has gone on miles away from the site. We've just been clear in the roam game and looking to hold anything, but that's how Border goes. Jigsaw, not a lot to go on here. He's got a piece missing, Demo.
Only a matter of time again. See if he can complete the puzzle. Don't know how he's been able to dash through top metal, and he's got himself into the bomb site. Diffuser in hand, he could go for the plant, but I'd be surprised if they're going to allow that to go down. Will start to stick the defuse, and this is where Wild should now collapse onto him. Will have to stick it, and Aces is going to be there with the cleanup. Aces just ratted his way around. There's a period, Ollie, where he was sat underneath that window for so long. Whenever he got that first kill, he had 4 goo mines stacked up in his pocket. That was how long he was there. He just tossed them all out at once.
It's almost instant death at that point.
It is. They stack up. That's like 25
yeah.
HP gone just instantly.
Match and series point here for Wild. They may breathe a sigh of relief, but they've not exactly got the wiggle room, Demo. They're only 1 round away from this going to an overtime. With the way that Koi have fought throughout this fixture, particularly on Border, I wouldn't be surprised if we get there. It really comes down to who wants it more right now. Because it's been pretty close here on Border. Hero plays aside. Scrappy Siege aside. It's been a very entertaining game to watch.
It has everything. Everything that we would want to see.
Bomb located by attackers.
But I think Koi's still lacking in the kill department. Hosty, 2 and 10. Is that 4 kills, Ollie, in the space of 19 rounds? Still not even... he hasn't improved since the last time I talked about him, has he? I don't think so.
I don't think so, no, because he got 2 kills pretty early on, I think.
That cost you games. 1 weak link cost you games. You can't rock up here and get no kills, especially with the role he's on. He's not in the Deepek or Leon Gibbs role.
5 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tough one, really, for Hosty, because we commented on Jigsaw, and we call anyone out that's having a slow game, especially if they're in a role where you're expected to perform a little bit. We called Jigsaw out, and obviously he's not heard us, but
he's done
he knew it himself, and he's done a great job. And we were speaking that a couple of the rounds at the start of this Border game were on Deepek. A couple of them have now been on Jigsaw as well, and a couple have been team performances. So it's been nice. You've spread it out. It's not just one man show at this point. But, and I'm not saying that it would have been a lot different if Hosty had been firing, but 2 and 10, it's just not really where you want to be.
Also, I will say with the kills that Hosty should be getting, a lot of the time, if you actually go back and watch the VOD, a lot of the time Hosty is in a position where he's behind Leon on the Monty. Leon's feeding just constant information to Hosty, and he's still not getting the kills. That's another big issue. Leon is trying to enable Hosty, and to be fair, Leon himself has suffered because he's on the Monty. Leon hasn't really got going in this game. Don't think that's just down to him, it's just because he's on that role, he's on the Monty. It's very difficult to ask somebody to pop off on a pistol. That's not how that works.
Yeah, absolutely not. It's
So don't blame him for his performance at the moment. He's been trying everything he can to help this team. Leon, always, from day one, Leon does the jobs that no one wants to do in this team. Leon has to play those almost suicide positions, those almost I'll be your bait 4-year-olds. That's Leon. Dies for them. But if no one's paying out, then what's the point?
You can definitely feel the tension in this round. It's a lot slower than what we've seen leading up to this point. Teb kicks things off with an opener. Jigsaw, he's going to push himself around, finds a freebie over onto Pipe. And he's in the heart of the site, but nobody is home.
There's no vertical.
Everybody off site right now, and no vertical angles to challenge onto, as you mentioned. Hosty, he's going to pick it up when it matters the most. He takes Teb down. That's advantage, Koi. And if Leon can get himself in here, they might be able to get a plant and get themselves out, Demo.
I see no vertical as well in towards Vents. We'll go for the jump in. We'll now try and stick the plant. It's not as if there's a Solus that they have to worry about. There's none of that from Wild. The C4 will be tossed in from Jeg. Doesn't know where Leon has planted. Oh, he's seen them, but not in time. Diffuser goes down. And Wild have a very tricky retake to go for. Hosty finally gets some kills on the board. And Jags, 1 versus 4 for him. Diffuser, he's going the long way around. I don't think this is going to work out too well for him. Any kill he gets is going to be an exit at this stage. He doesn't get any. Deepak with a cleanup, but you have to highlight Jigsaw and you have to highlight Koi for playing around him. Jigsaw makes the opening. He finds the space. And look how quick Koi changed their plans. All of them just dived into sight. They knew it was clear. There's no vertical. There's no one in there. And a very easy plant for Leon. Really shocked that Wild had no vertical. Very, very poor from them not have an ounce of that.
It's cost them the round, ultimately. That and the fact that no one's, it's okay to leave the site empty. It's okay to not play anybody on the site, but you can't leave it invisible. You can't leave it entirely covered and safe, because the attackers are just going to hop in and they're going to go, oh, guys, like, we can just plant. Just, come in and plant. It's going to be fine. And if you've got a little bit of pressure upstairs and a little bit of chaos going on up there, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. And that's exactly what we saw just then. Overtime confirmed now. Koi still on the attack here. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing for him at the moment, Demo. I think time will tell. Maybe it could be a good thing, given that they've now got a little bit of momentum and they've got their act together a little bit.
Koi in the attack.
10 seconds left.
A change up, though, from the usual lineup. Monty has been sacked off in favor of a Glaz this time.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
I wonder what Leon's thinking with that. Will they try and push in for the archives? I mean, that is where you generally would see your Glazes. And he is over towards that side of the map, so it could be a possibility. It could just be a quick way of just getting a cheese kill. Just pop the smoke.
Quite possibly.
They haven't shown the Glaz ollie, so it would catch you by surprise.
It's a good time to bring it, in my opinion. I think you bring the Glaz and you just got to try and make something happen with it. Glaz on border is a fantastic combination. They've got a couple of sets of smoke on Deepak as well, so there's further support to this Glaz. Really comes down to where Leon chooses to play it, and in these overtime rounds, particularly the last one, we saw it just really take a long time to get going, and I think that's just the sheer weight and the pressure that's on everybody at the moment. Nobody really wants to be that one to make that first mistake and to take that first challenge or even that first risk.
Loading new mag.
Leon set up, ready to go. Will pop in the smoke. Is anyone from Wild looking for a peek? Down goes Aces. Deepak with an opening kill. But looking at the diffuser, though, Leon's the one with the diffuser. You should have it the other way around. It should be Deepak planting when Leon covers, and that has cost them a full-on smoke grenade. Ollie, that is the issue with that. And other news, though, Hosty has won an engagement in towards Break Room. And it does put them 2 men up in this scenario with more than half, just less than half the round to go, actually. This is still looking really good for Koi.
I think Koi are in the driver's seat here. They've got the man count advantage. They've got a decent positional advantage. We've got Crying, prowling underneath, 2 nades ready to roll. They've got that space to try and make something happen here. Deepak gonna try and stun out Jegs. Finds one onto Hosty. As we can see, there's no nades that are going to land really here for Crying. He might find one with this, but he just turns the other way. The plant is being attempted. It's being baited, but Packbull's there to try and battle
Here's
it
a C4.
back. You can sit outside on the glass all you like, but you've got to commit. You've got to get yourself into the site, and if you can't do that, well, it's a Puadu, the diffuser, cold on the ground, Crying, and Leon trying to make something happen, fighting with that dread mine. We see just how pesky that utility can be. Crying trying to make that rotation round to assist, but now they're both going to be banging their head against the same direction. Crying could try and pick up this diffuser, but Packbull and Hungry are both packing. They have C4s ready to rip, ready to let fly. And that's not the easiest thing to shoot out midair, let me tell you, especially on the glass. Leon going to aggressively push through, finds a little bit of space. Hungry is there for the trade, though. Now is when we should see the C4 coming out. Hungry lets the flank go down. Hello, Jegs. Hungry? Anyone home?
This is tense. Oh, diffuser, quick diffuse. It's going to be happening. You have to get up that ladder. You have to go a C4 to try and beat it. Oh, and he gets one, but not the other. So close for Crying. But Hungry, the knight in shining armor for Wild. What a crucial kill he needed to get. I can't speak.
I am lost for words. That round could have gone every which way right there.
Weirdest round of the day. Just
Every which way.
It's just, I would say the majority of that round was spent in the abyss. It was just no man's land.
That was so winnable as well, by the way. Those players on the side of Wild were lined up. You could have sprayed both of them down. In fact, a bad player would have probably sprayed them both down. But a good player they're aiming too small. I reckon I'd have got both kills there. I reckon I'd have won the round.
You would have been dead long ago in that round. Don't be.
What
Don't
a
kid
round
yourself.
of Siege. Match and series point for Wild.
Just everyone, just take a breath. Everyone, just in through the mouth, out through the nose. Is it in through the nose?
It's the other way.
Is it the other way?
It's the other way around. Yeah, because if you breathe through your nose, it like filters the air a little bit better, doesn't it? And you don't get a dry mouth.
Big breath, guys. Still, it's not over yet. Not over from a long chance yet. Still in it. Still potential 2 more rounds to play, and I have a bad feeling we might see it. We might. Unless Wild want to try and go for one of the cheap strategies, but I would expect that Koi will be ready for that. I think they've dealt with Wild in those plays very well today. There's not a lot that Wild have been able to get over Koi in terms of the attacking prowess. Twitch and the Brava. 2 drones that can clear away the utility, of course, which handy enough for clearing away some of those default cameras. Jigsaw needs to be careful. You need to keep him alive. He's had a very good game, and on the Source, an important operator to see where those diffusers are going to be planted. Keep him up. He is vital to this success.
It's been a long time since we've seen Koi defend, and a equally long time since we've seen Wild attack. Jigsaw has been softened up in the opening part of this round, but he's still up and at him for the time being. And the fact that he's switched on now is even more important. We're going to see the Monty start to push through. Hungry. He's going to take a little bit of that ground at the top of East Stairs. He's got a drone working with him as well. Jigsaw, he can see the shadows there, just flirting with going in, but it's going to be Packbull to open things up onto Deepek, the star of the show for Koi. A C4 goes long. Jegs is going to get half health, but it's not going to be enough. Half the round yet to go, and Koya dropping back.
No C4s.
That Monty is doing its job.
Oh, that's an issue. No real way of dealing with the Monty. This is where Hungry can just take control of the game and start to starve out these players of Koi if any hope of gaining control. If you're a defender, you see a Monty come towards you, you just hightail it the other way. It scares you off. Koi are trying, you can see Crying, he really wants to try and retake East, but I think Wild have got it well covered. They've got at least one man holding on to it. It will be the DMR of Aces. Hosty, though, has found Packbull. Down goes the Ace. He is in Sandwich. It's a tricky position to get rid of if you don't have any nades, and Wild have forgone that this round.
Not bringing nades is a very curious decision here from Wild. Especially when they've been very impactful so far.
Where's Aces going?
Double down on the Claymores. Teb going to find himself down immediately there with the trade. It's going to be Jegs. Aces got a glimpse there.
This is genius, though.
He's at least going to be able to call out, but nobody knows of his location. Jegs, he's picked up 2. Hosty, you got a lot to prove now. Crying also in the hot seat. He's getting bared down on there by
What a
Hungry, and he
rotation,
will be finished off. It's all now on to Hosty. Aces, he's pre-firing. There's red ping information available as well. Hosty, he's got too many islands to challenge on to. Jegs, he's going to get the job done. Wild. They made it look easy on Oregon, but they went to war on Border.
Much better from Koi compared to Oregon, but it's still not enough. Wild, let's see it over the finish line. What a rotate from Aces. He was looking for Cryan the entire round. He had a good chance of killing him over towards Break Room, but they'd actually seen that as an opportunity to slip in under the cover of everything else happening over towards Office, get himself in a position in towards Armory, eventually gets Cryan.